Chapter 4. Establish the basics on top of the foundation. March 16, 2003 was the first time I offered Sunday worship at Chune Church, to which I was led. For the first time at Chune Church, I was offering Sunday worship. The day before, March 15th, was my 59th birthday, and this was a great milestone. On the third day at the church, the pastor called my name to present a certificate, so I was puzzled. There were two. One was for deacon of Chune Church, and the other was for president of men's group. I was given a very precious duty. The shape of God's plan is such an urgent one. 4 members of the men's group nominated me, and I became president of their group. The men's group is a pillar for the church, and the pillar must do well at keeping its place for the church to be reinforced. I was thankful to God because He gave me, an insufficient person, the ability to lead the precious saints and undertake this duty well for 4 years. Summer Retreat. During evening worship on January 21st, 2003, God's word was, "Get a car, and no matter where it is, let's go on a retreat." At this word, we moved forward immediately. After founding Chune Church, the first thing implemented was a summer retreat. Deaconess Jeongnam Lee's parents mentioned that the valley in Pyeongchang, Gangwon-do province was nice. So we went to investigate the next morning. The valley had deep mountains from which very clear waters flowed. The air was so very clean. It was a pure, uncontaminated place on which people's footsteps did not go. Even the newly built small hotel was clean. The moment we saw this place, our hearts were so peaceful that we immediately decided on it. We considered all circumstances and decided on 2 nights, 3 days, from August 21st to 23rd. Other follow-up actions were also quickly prepared. All things were accomplished in a brief instant. For our summer retreat to Pyeongchang, Gangwon-do, we took a bus. My heart was so carefree and light-hearted, I really enjoyed it. But when we arrived, it started to rain, and it rained all night. I was worried. Our schedule was to wake up 6 a.m., pray, and hike until 7 a.m. Amazingly, we were able to do as planned because it stopped raining for that time frame, but continued raining afterwards. Next on our schedule was to assemble indoors. It didn't matter then if it rained after our hike. We could see God's miracles in these moments in the midst of our retreat. The next day's schedule was to grill pork in the yard. At that very moment, the pouring rain stopped. We deliciously ate the prepared food and enjoyed the meal. After doing the dishes, the rain came down again. Just as God let all the plagues pass over the Israelites in the land of Goshen in Egypt, God allowed the Chune family to experience something valuable. This experience showed us that He was living and doing miraculous works. Afterwards, every time we went on a retreat, even if the weather station forecasted rain, God had us experience again the miracle of rain not coming down and caused us to believe in the living God that much more. Athletics competition. To become one in flesh and spirit, we had our first athletics competition in the fall of 2004. I was appointed chairperson of the committee. The competition fell on a Sunday, so we decided to have it on the last Sunday of October. Worship service would begin 30 minutes earlier than usual, and we could eat lunch afterwards. We could start our competitions at 1 p.m. and go until 5:30 p.m. We decided on 3 teams with 15 adults per team. We prepared team jackets and made flags with our logo to cheer on the teams. The flag colors were red, white, and blue. This sports event was in a field next to a middle school and high school, and everyone could play the games. Kickball, 1,000-meter relay race, tug of war, popping balloons, eating sticky rice cakes, and etc. Making the gold flag. At the 2004 summer retreat on August 20th, I received a command. That is, I received God's word personally. I was to be the chairperson for the flag committee at the church. 5 members were appointed to the committee, and we were to create our flag, a gold flag. Our gold flag has the church's symbol and mark. To make the flag, our first priority as a church was to create a logo. The committee members prayed. They prepared and researched designs. While examining, I saw Se-Hwan Kwan's sketch and reacted. This is it. I experienced such joy from within, from the life inside my spirit. By God's leadership, we chose the image. Hung Sup Gil designed our website and made the flag. Construction of the Temple. On October 20th, 2004, God appointed me as chairperson and appointed 5 others to work on the construction of the temple. I had absolutely no experience in construction, but decided to just go according to his lead. The entire church prayed about the location of the church. The answer fell. The location is where I'm at now. A little further from where I'm at now, there's a plot of land we could have bought. We could have built a much bigger, beautiful temple on it, but God wanted this place. Initially, a shopping district building was being constructed at this place. Only 2 stories were built. Due to financial problems, it was neglected for a long time. We decided to relocate the church to this building and signed an agreement on November 5th, 2004, to take the entire 4th floor of the 5-story building. The width of the church is 545.3 meters square, which is 165 pyong. We signed a contract and money was paid, so the halted construction began to operate again in vigor. The committee's mission was to prepare and complete all things before the framework went up to the 4th floor. While praying, God showed me the arrangement of the church, and we went on to implement this as well. God showed us that Ju-Ane Church was being built from inside God's plan. First, stage by stage, we sorted and selected the things we needed to do. We put priority on the interior and made a contract with the interior construction company. There was a column in the middle that could hinder worship, so we got rid of it and installed a reinforcing H-beam. The height of the ceiling was lower than an ordinary building, so during the construction process, we consulted with the construction people and decided to lift the ceiling up as much as possible. A marble wall was adhered at the middle of the platform, the pulpit area, and a cross that would illuminate light was installed. This was the central platform. A choir station was to be on the left and the musical instruments team on the right. So that saints could offer worship with peaceful hearts, indoor lighting was to be delicate and soft. We also made the walls soundproof. We designated spaces for a broadcasting booth, nursery/baby room, standby room for the choir, and etc. According to each room, the men's and women's restrooms were altered. There would also be another smaller temple, a mini temple, which had to be a place of worship. It was to have similar characteristics as the main worship hall. You couldn't go into the mini temple with shoes on, and people had to sit on cushions on the floor. We installed a shoe rack and closet room at the entrance, and the door was an automatic sliding door. The mini temple would observe the silence of worship. For the head pastor's office, an office for his wife who is the director of the prayer center, we considered the size, structure, and organization. A lounge-like space with a sink was made in the passageway to their office rooms. This created a cozy atmosphere. While working on finishing touches, it was so beautifully made in God's eyes. The entire process went on according to the way God led. The committee members and I held meetings frequently about church relocation. Anyone in the church could participate and know about all the work and process. In one accord, the whole church pushed forth in prayer. All work progressed smoothly. There was, however, just so much. It was a tremendous amount of work in which God fulfilled something out of nothing. Upon the completion of the building, God commanded all the church people to circle the construction site every night after evening worship ended. So we prepared flashlights for the middle of the night. As we prayed while circling the site, God said He'd provide here and there more and more, with even better and stronger materials needed for the construction of the temple. God made it a strong and solid fortress and told us this was a holy place. No one was to even spit on the ground during the construction process. Finally, we put up a cross at the very top of the building. There were so many things to prepare: the pulpit, broadcasting equipment, benches, chairs, a piano, furniture for the pastor's office furnishings, office supplies, curtains, air conditioning and heating facilities, installation. God gave us wisdom for the preparation for all these things, and the saints' prayer were with this work, so all things were accomplished well. Finally, on July 29, 2005, we could go inside. During the whole time, God led it all. I, who had absolutely no knowledge in construction, was used for this work, and I only give thanks that I was used. This was a period of time when I experienced how God takes a hold of the deficient person and uses them. Financial and steering committees. The pastor had directly supervised the church's finances, but starting January 2004, the pastor entrusted it to me. Deaconess Kyung-A Gi and I digitized the finances. From 2006, Hannah Im and Young-Soon Kong, who were deaconesses at the time, became a team for public finance. Until now, while consulting with the pastor, they have been handling their mission as managers/stewards. Starting June 2004, following the group's expansion and reorganization, I was entrusted with the all-around works of the church, the planning and general affairs sector. So I systematically planned for basic, fundamental items and henceforth continued working. In my public career life, I worked in a major company, had project planning experience, and was also self-employed. The mental foundation God gave me was the wisdom to grasp and learn to create something out of nothing. Thus, I was able to undertake all the work for church. Consecration as elder. At the end of May 2003, through voting in a joint assembly, I was chosen as a deacon, from acting deacon to ordained deacon. I honestly just wanted to function as a helper from behind, but what was I to do? From then on, I had to take the lead, so I just decided to receive it in thankfulness for God's will. In the same year, at the end of October during the establishment and appointment worship service, I received the appointment of ordained deacon. When God anointed me through the appointment worship, a fiery energy hung inside my entire body. I was the first ordained deacon in the era of love. During the Common Assembly at the end of July 2006, I was chosen as elder, the most blessed duty in God's kingdom. I questioned if I can even be such a title, but all work until now was not accomplished by me. I believe God is the one who leads me. To become formally consecrated as elder, I had to go through the hurdle of taking an elder's examination from the presbytery affiliation. So a 1-year time period was needed. Finally, at the end of October 2007, during the appointment worship at Chu-and-A Church's 5th year commemoration worship, I was consecrated as elder. When many precious pastors prayed with their hands on my head, I felt fire resting in my whole body. Many guests celebrated and congratulated me, especially Jihe's parents from the U.S., and siblings and parents, so I was very thankful. Now, as elder, my mission was to go only according to the way the Lord led me. Being an elder meant I had to be a role model to all church people. To do this, the person I had to perfectly die and serve and embrace everyone in love, from the pastor to the youngest of children. The work of my image disappearing was not something I could do with my strength, but I believed it can be done if God helped me. I must take hold of only truth and entrust everything to Him.